Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Drafted Up Podcast. That's Nick, I'm Theo, and we're one sleep away from meaningful football tomorrow night. So today we're going to breeze through this episode. We're going to give our, winners of each game and start and sit stuff like, you guys, it's week one, you're drafting your highest drafted guys. Like, there's really no debate here. Like, the start sit stuff really doesn't become relevant till like week 4 or so, when you kind of get a idea of who's doing what schemes are working, what schemes are not. But today we're just going to go through our predictions, maybe touch very briefly on fantasy. Nick, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Can't complain. Just ready for some meaningful football, dude. And it's right around the corner finally, dude. All the hard work, the long off season, but it honestly doesn't feel that long when you're really deep into it like we are. The draft really holds you over. The combine's right there. Everything's just another mile step to the regular season, and we're right here, dude.
Yeah, and I can't wait, especially like just from like a real life perspective. Like, I'm interested in seeing how the Vikings do or how these other teams do. Like we've talked, like I'm really into like Arizona's offense, Seattle, stuff like that. But also from a fantasy perspective, you want to see how the guys that like you're high on, how they're going to perform, or who's going to be the surprise, stuff like that. Because like there's always players that come out of nowhere. You're like, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, 100%. We can put these rankings together all we want and predict what we think is going to happen, but the fantasy season isn't chalk. It never is. So it's going to be very exciting to see how the season plays out.
Yeah, like last year, Puka Nacua was an example. Like, sure, you could have been high on him. Like, yeah, Puka, he's a sleeper. Like, keep an eye on him. Dropped him in Dynasty, but like, no one expected him to have a top 10 wide receiver finish last season.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could have bet on Puka, and there are a few people out there who drafted him in the last round and then held on to him, and it paid off. But you can't really predict stuff like that.
Nope.
Fantasy's always a question mark.
Yeah, that's what's fun. So tomorrow night,
yes, sir.
Thursday night football, first game of the year. We got the defending reigning champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, at home, 3.5-point favorites against the Baltimore Ravens at over under a 46. There's going to be points scored. This is going to be a good game. I'm going with the Ravens. Like, this happens a lot. Like, you see the Super Bowl team kind of come out hungover and lose week 1. The Chiefs did it last year against Detroit. Yeah. And I think the Ravens are going to want to try to make a statement. Like, last year they were really good and they just kind of flubbed up in the playoffs. They're kind of becoming like a AFC Dallas. Like, the great regular season team just doesn't put together in the playoffs. I think Lamar and crew, defending MVP, I think they're going to come out. Derrick Henry, I think the Ravens are going to ball out. I think they cover that spread. I think they win by at least a touchdown.
I'll flip it. I'll go the opposite. I'll go to Chiefs. They were my pick for the AFC. I think they're going to come out swinging. It obviously didn't happen last year versus Detroit, but they still played a hell of a game. And Baltimore's no slack. Baltimore's going to be very exciting this year. They added Derrick Henry. Very excited to see him in purple. So that's going to be weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll go with Kansas City. So we'll go opposite week 1 here.
Yeah, I am interested to see how the Ravens offense comes out. I'm hoping we see a lot of Isaiah Likely.
That would be nice.
I haven't heard any updates on Mark Andrews. I assume he's going to play.
He's practicing.
He's practicing. Okay, good deal. I haven't seen anything today, but I feel there would have been talks already. Like, he's not playing.
Yeah, no, he's good. And then I also hear a lot of reports that Isaiah Likely is working as the third option in the offense behind Andrews and Flowers. So Isaiah
Likely
that
super
would be
talented.
Very nice. Yes,
and I've been saying, like, anytime we brought him up, like, I hope Baltimore utilizes him. Like, he's athletic enough to be your wide receiver. Like, I would rather them utilize him than Rashad Bateman, and I love Rashad Bateman.
100%. Yeah, he's way more talented than Bateman. Bateman can't seem to put together consistent stretches of being good. Like, he's always looks good in camp and then comes out and has really good week 1s and then kind of just floats on by the rest of the season. He gets banged up a lot. But I would love to see Andrews and Isaiah Likely out there. I want to see their snap percentages for sure. And I'm also intrigued about Flowers as well. I'm not huge on Flowers, but if he goes out there, I would love to see him really shock the world.
Yeah, second year wide receiver. Those guys they boom usually. So I'm interested in how they utilize Zay Flowers in Kansas City. I'm intrigued to see the pecking order of that wide receiving crew. I know Hospital Brown's not playing.
Yeah, he's out.
But Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, I'm really excited to see how he's utilized in this offense. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out, so we're looking at Isaiah
Perine.
Pacheco season, and Perine's going to get his snaps, but I think we're going to see a lot from Pacheco this year. I think this is going to be a heavy fantasy game. Start your Chiefs, start your Ravens. Keep an eye out if Isaiah Likely, like you brought up, if he's on your waiver wire, throw some fab at him. He might be worth stashing up.
For sure. The Chiefs, though, I'm pretty much in on all the Chiefs. I wouldn't start. I wouldn't start Worthy. But hey, man, if you want to call your shot on Worthy, it'd be fun to start him and he goes off. Like, he's a guy that can do that. And with Hospital Brown not playing, but Rashid Rice is playing. He's not looking at a suspension as of right now until after the case is done. So I'm really in on Rashid Rice right now. And him and Flowers are going to be a lot of talk of, like, should we start these guys in the flex? Start them both. And don't really look back.
You likely drafted both of them as starters, especially Zay Flowers. He was going like the 4th or 5th round. Rashi was going a little earlier, but his ADP started climbing back up once he's not getting suspended, so he was getting drafted where he was going. All right, Friday night, we got the Brazil game. Could be the first and last game of the season for these teams. I'm just kidding, but like this is the five.
It's a dangerous game, dude. It's a dangerous game.
The NFL
doesn't make
money.
sense. I don't know.
No.
It's crazy, dude.
We got the Green Bay Packers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are 3.5-point favorites, and over under of 48.5 points. I cannot wait to see the Packers offense. We've talked about it all off season. Like, these weapons are insane. Dontavian Wicks, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, even Luke Musgrave, Josh Jacobs. Like, yeah, let's see how this is.
I'm really excited to see Josh Jacobs out there. We talked about him poorly all off season, and the last 2 weeks it's really looking at like, oh, Josh Jacobs has to be the workhorse. That's not the system they run. For him. So I'm pretty excited to see that. But Philly's been my off-season take off. Like, I'm really excited to see Philly out there Friday. It's nice that they're playing on a Friday, so I'm forced to watch Philly play. Otherwise, we're watching Red Zone most likely. Though Giants Vikings play, we'll get to that later. But Philly, dude, like, Philly's my like MVP. Like, I'm all in on the Philly players: Hurts, Barkley, AJ Smith. I'm out on Goddard.
Yeah,
but those 4 guys though, I'm super excited. And like you said, Green Bay, dude, like, Green Bay's gonna be a blast, dude. It's gonna be another great game.
I actually worry that this game might be kind of a dud just because, like, the travel and like keeping the players cooped up. Like, I worry that this is going to be a little disappointment game, and like you might be a little sour on like your Green Bay players. Like, Jaden Reed might only get like 4 or 5 points. You're gonna be like, man, like that's what I worry about. Just like, it just feels like a game that could be disappointing. I hope it hits that over under 48.5. Like, we're looking at a lot of points potentially. You're still going to start your guys. I do think the Packers win this game though.
All right, we'll flip it all in opposite again. I'll go Philly, baby. I'm all in on Philly. They're my NFC team. So my AFC, NFC teams are going Thursday, Friday, right off the bat. So I'm pretty excited to see both those teams go pretty early, right off the bat, Thursday, Friday. Dude, the NFL is doing us good, dude. They hooked us up.
The primetime games week 1 are stellar. Yeah, we'll get to the other ones coming up. Sunday, we start our Sunday games, our early games. First one we'll talk about, Pittsburgh Steelers at the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons, the sexy team of the offseason from the NFC side, they're 3.5-point favorites. Over under a 42, a little bit lower, but the excitement, we finally could see what this Falcons offense is all about. Kirk Cousins hasn't played in preseason. We don't know exactly how healthy he is, but Kyle Pitts now has a hamstring injury, so shocked. Kyle Pitts hurt right before the season, so for all you Kyle Pitts truthers, if he has a bad year, you just, well, hamstring, brother. He wasn't healthy. Well, he wasn't healthy last year either, or the year before. He's just always hurt. So it sucks because I would love to see a healthy Kyle Pitts with this offense. It could be a huge year now for Drake London. Like, everyone's projecting he's a wide receiver 1 in fantasy. It could come to that just because of injuries at this point. But yeah, I can't wait to see what Atlanta does. Pittsburgh, tough defense. So I think it's going to be a lot of Bijan. I think Bijan's going to be the star for Atlanta week 1. I am picking them home game. Pittsburgh, it's George Pickens and Najee and Jalen Warren if he plays. I'm staying away from anybody else on that offense. I would start the defense, though.
Yeah, I'm comfortable starting Pittsburgh's defense. We don't talk much defense on the podcast, but we can shoot it there. Atlanta, though, I'm starting all of them. You kind of have to start Pitts if you drafted them. like maybe you were smart enough to handcuff him with like Taysom Hill or Taysom Hill. He's really my late round tight end option. I would start over Kyle Pitts right now, but you're kind of forced to start him if you drafted him. So buckle in for the ride, dude. It's already off to an extremely bumpy ride, dude, and it's crazy. Drake London, I'm really in on Drake London this week for sure. I think Kirk's gonna come out and show that he's healthy. I don't think he's gonna have an amazing game, but it's gonna be like a really safe, played, well organized game.
Yeah, are you picking Atlanta or Pittsburgh?
Oh, Atlanta. I'm surprised you picked Atlanta. I'm surprised you did. I thought you were going Pittsburgh. But yeah, I'll pick Atlanta. Like you said, I think Bijan's really going to turn it up week 1.
My narrative with Pittsburgh has been Justin Fields as the quarterback there. So for him to get the quarterback job, Russell Wilson needs to lose games. And I think Pittsburgh does lose out some games early, like starts 1-5. And then we see Fields. But yeah, I think Atlanta kind of brings the hype, kind of lives up early on. I think they'll falter towards the end. Next up, my favorite team in the NFC, the Arizona Cardinals, are at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 5.5-point favorites, an over-under of 48. Both teams not great on defense. Both teams have high-powered offenses. I think this could be the fantasy game of the week. Chances are, though, you're probably not starting a lot of the Bills' offense that isn't Josh Allen, James Cook, or Dalton Kincaid. Like, if you have Shakir, or Coleman, or Samuel, they're probably on your bench. Arizona, you're starting their guys. Kyler, Connor, Marv, Trey McBride. And that's who I cannot wait to see what Marvin Harrison does week 1. Like, it's going to be an insane thing. Either he's going to blow up or he's going to kind of be like a 5 for 80 kind of guy. And everyone's going to be like, oh, Marvin Harrison, why'd you draft him? He's not that good.
I mean, when he goes 5 for 80, I'm going to be like, hey, man, that's a really good week 1. There's nothing wrong with that because next week he can go 6 for 100 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
5 for 80 is still a good PPR game. I'd be fine with that. But Arizona, you're starting their guys, but dude, they're going to get body bagged. Like they're going to get
body bagged. I think they're covering.
You think they're covering the 5.5?
I do think they're going to cover. Dude. They're not going to win, but I think they lose by like a field goal. I do think they cover the spread. I don't think their defense can
keep them in this, dude. I think Josh Allen's going to go out there and really be Josh Allen.
Okay.
Like, I don't think the receivers are going to have an amazing game, but I think a Cook is going to be phenomenal. It wouldn't surprise me if Cook is RB1 this week.
Okay.
Hey,
and I love James Cook. I love to hear that.
Dalton Kincaid can obviously be tight end 1 as well. And Josh Allen is always in the running for the top QB of the week. Like, regardless of who he's playing, he's Josh Allen. But those 3 Bills, I'm locking them in like 100%. Mm-hmm. I'm very, very confident on James Cook this week.
Yeah. I'm picking the Bills. I do think they win. I don't 100%. Think they cover. I even think they go over that 48. I think this could be the highest scoring game of the week.
Yeah, because of the Bills.
I mean, I love the Arizona offense. I think they're going to surprise some people. Header up before we go to the next game. Maybe later, like week 2 or week 3 or week 4, we'll start giving you like our starts of the week, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We'll dive in there. We're going to kind of cut back. Tuesdays are going to be a short show. We'll probably just recap games real quick Sunday, who had good games, who had bad games, waiver watch, stuff like that. Talk about the Thursday games. And then Thursday, we'll have the big game. We'll do this. We'll talk about all the teams and then give you our starts of the week, sits, all that kind of stuff. But week 1, I don't see a point in it because you're starting your top drafted guys.
Yeah, week 1, you pretty much know who you're starting when you draft your team, except maybe like your last flex spot. Like that's the spot I'm looking at in our home league. I'm looking at like McLaren, Christian Kirk, Gus Edwards if I want to throw them in there. But I'm just kind of swapping guys here and there, but it's just a lax flex spot. You kind of know who you're playing.
I'm looking at my running back spot. In our home league, we do just quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, and then flex. So I'm between Raheem Mostert and Javonte Williams. But guys, hey, if you want to comment, who would you start? Javonte Williams, Raheem Mostert, PPR, even help Nick out with Terry McLaurin, Christian Kirk, Najee Harris, whichever ones he's playing there.
I didn't even mention Najee. I brought up Gus Edwards. I forgot I had Najee on my bench too. That's crazy. I'll take him.
Gus Edwards, Najee Harris, same player.
Same person.
All right. Next up, the Tennessee Titans. You know I love that offense. At the Chicago Bears. The Bears are a 4.5-point favorite. Over under a 45, a little bit higher than I thought. Caleb, like I think this game's more fun from just like a watch perspective.
Yeah.
You're gonna start DJ Moore, you're gonna start Keenan Allen. Tennessee wise, you might start Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley. You'll definitely start.
Calvin, yeah, for sure.
Other than that, like Hopkins may or may not play, hasn't been official. But I think the Titans win this game. I think they're going to surprise people. I think it's going to be a close one or 2 point victory for the Tennessee Titans.
I think it'll be very, very close, but I'm gonna take the Bears. I'm kind of buying the hype, so I kind of have to take the Bears. I back myself into that corner. I'm cool with being in there, but I do think Tennessee's going to play really well. I would start Tony Pollard in a flex spot. I'd be comfortable with that. Calvin Ridley, I would be cool in a receiver, like the low end 2 receiver spot. 100% lock him in at flex. The tight ends and both the options I'm not really looking at.
No, Chase probably shouldn't even be rostered.
Yeah, I agree. Cole Kmet, I guess if you like punted the position and you happen to pick him, he had a really nice season last year, but they have a ton of options down in Chicago, so it's not really feasible. Like it could happen, but I'll take the Bears. I like Caleb Williams. I think the receivers are going to have all really good games. It's hopefully Rome is on the field enough to where he has a chance to have a good game.
How do you feel about Swift? Yeah, I was going to bring him up.
Swift scares me, dude. Like, there's a whole backfield there, and he's not really productive. If you're forced to play him in a flex spot, I guess you'd have to, but I wouldn't start him in my running back spots. I would try to find something else.
Bears defense. It's a good defense to kind of stream. That's who my stream is. Will Levis loves to throw interceptions, loves taking sacks. Even though I think Tennessee's going to win this game, I think the Bears defense is still going to be productive. You're going Chicago, I went Tennessee. So we've differed on all of them but 2. So this is going to be interesting for Pick'em when we keep tallies. Next up, the biggest spread of the week, the New England Patriots. They are traveling to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are a 9.5 point favorite, an over-under of 40.5. So that gives the Bengals a 32 point score. So start your Bengals. Jamar Chase, he returned to practice. Well, looks like he's going to play on Sunday. So the Bengals
hopefully
have the full arsenal. Jamar, T, Zach Moss listed as the RB1 on the depth chart. Chase Brown going to likely still be involved. If you're in a real deep league, look at Andre Yoshivas. I've brought him up before. He's the clear 3 right now. New England, though, Ramondre, you might just be forced into playing him, but he might kind of wiggle his way to 10 points and you'll be happy.
I'm cool with Ramondre as an RB2. Chase Brown is announced as their kick returner. So there's some free points. There's free points there if it happens. And Ty Chandler was named your guy's kick returner.
Yeah, our only other running back besides Aaron Jones, and we got him out there returning kicks.
So it's nice to see these
legitimate players, not just like a guy you're using a roster spot on.
Yeah, so like I have Ty Chandler in a couple weeks, so if he's able to get, even if it's like 1 extra touchdown on the year, hey man, I'll take it. If I happen to start him that week, that's an exciting week. I'll take it. I'll start every Bengal I can possibly play. I think they're gonna double the spread. I think they're gonna fucking destroy New England.
18-point win.
It wouldn't surprise me if the score's 28-3. Like that wouldn't surprise me at all. Like Brissett's a fine quarterback, but he has no weapons, dude. Like Ramondre can't do this by himself.
Yeah, Pop Douglas, KJ Osborne, Javon Baker, Jalen Polk, they're not moving the needles, and those last 2 are rookies. Like they're
who likely, I think will be very good, but Brissett's not really the quarterback to do it for him. I think Drake May's gonna get in, but their offensive line's horrendous. Like if they send Drake May out there, he's gonna die.
Yeah.
So they can't do that to him.
You're looking at a Derek Carr situation or David Carr situation there.
Yeah, exactly. Where he's getting Drake sacked 70, 80 times. But Cincinnati, I'm all in. Hopefully Chase ends up. I think he's gonna play.
He's gonna play. He came out of practice today. I don't think there's any way he's not out there.
But him and T are gonna have crazy games.
I wouldn't be surprised if T Higgins has more points than Jamar Chase this week, just because he's been out there practicing. He's more football ready right now,
for sure.
But yeah, start your Bengals, Jamar, T, Zach Moss. Even you're in a deep league, I'd even be fine throwing Chase Brown out there. He could probably PPR his way to some decent numbers. Not the tight ends though. Drew Sample, Mike Gesicki shouldn't even be rostered.
I mean, Hunter Henry in deep leagues, Oh, sure.
Hunter Henry's a week 1 superstar. So
exactly, like
DFS.
Oh yeah, for
Hunter
sure.
Henry.
Yeah, like Hunter Henry's a long shot just to have a touchdown. Like if anyone has a touchdown that's not Ramondre, I would put money on Hunter Henry if I had to on New England.
That's a good bet. I wonder what the odds are for a Hunter Henry anytime touchdown week 1. I might go.
Hey man, probably pretty good. I'd throw a couple bucks on that for sure.
Yeah, I think we're both picking Cincinnati here.
For sure, I'd lock that. If I was in a survivor pool, Cincinnati would be my pick this week.
All right. Next one, way more exciting. The Houston Texans, the sexy team from the AFC, 2.5 point favorites on the road. Division game week 1 against the Indianapolis Colts, an over-under of 49. This game's going to be wild. I think you're going to start all. You're going to start Michael Pittman. You're going to start Anthony Richardson. I think they're both decent plays. The Texans, Stroud, Diggs, Tank, Nico, Joe Mixon. You're starting that guy. I didn't even mention Johnny Taylor over in Indy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think the 3 big Indy guys, you're playing them. Houston, you're playing all the guys you have in Houston. I cannot wait to see how that offense ends up working out. Is it going to be Diggs? Is it going to be Nico? Is it going to be Tank? Are we just going to see a straight split that kind of devalues all 3 of them and kind of
I don't think it devalues
CJ Stroud?
I don't think it devalues them, but I think they're all going to be that good. Like I'm really confident in all 3 of those receivers now that we're getting really close to the season. Like we were both lower on Diggs. I don't know how you feel now closer to the season, but I'm more confident as I am now than I was 2 weeks ago on Steph Diggs.
I think Diggs will be fine, but I still think he's going to end up being the 3rd option in terms of fantasy on this team. I still think it's going to be Nico and Tank at the top 2 spots. I just didn't like Diggs at his ADP. I would have much rather drafted Diggs in like the 5th or 6th instead of the 3rd or 4th.
I think Nico is going to out-touchdown all of them. But it wouldn't surprise me if Diggs has the most targets out of all of them. Sort
of like a Mike Evans, Chris Godwin situation, where Chris Godwin had like as many targets as Mike Evans did last year, but Mike Evans had 13 touchdowns.
Exactly. And then I think Tank Dell's still going to be really fantasy relevant and real life. He is. He's so uncoverable. And CJ Stroud knows this. And the connection they already have, like, they're so good together. And I love both those guys. Like, Tank was my dude in Houston, like, coming out of college. And I'm like, he's this good. And it's so fun to watch him now. Like, I have him in our home week, so I have an even more deep connection to Tank Dell this year than I did last. And I'm like, let's ride it, baby. So I'm all in.
So, yeah. And Houston in, like, Joe Mixon, he's going to be the guy there.
Start him.
You're going to play him. Indy, the question marks are more Colts, so there with Anthony Richardson, but I hope he just finishes the game. I hope there's no injury scares for him. He just comes out and did what he did in the games he was productive last year. Just puts up a boatload of points and just looks like this insane, wild football player. I don't think the Colts win this game, but I think this could be a big boost to Anthony Richardson's confidence. If he can go out there, stay healthy, be competitive, the Colts look good, I think that's big for him going out. I hope he's not playing scared.
Yeah. He definitely needs it. Jonathan Taylor's a for sure lock. Pity City, lock him in. Richardson, you have to lock him in because you drafted him to start him, unless you're our buddy K-Dog, who happens to have Richardson, and then you locked him in. You locked him in with Jordan Love. I would start Jordan Love. I know it's a Friday game.
I agree,
but he's a safer floor for week 1. Like, Anthony Richardson's ceiling is QB1, where I don't think Jordan Love's ceiling is QB1. But the floor is just, I need a floor week 1. Like, Richardson's floor isn't there week 1. It's literally nothing. Like, he could bottom out. And that scares the shit out of me, where Jordan Love can't bottom out. It's not going to happen.
I would counter that. I think it all depends on, like, the team you're playing. Like, in that case, like, if you did draft a safety valve for Anthony Richardson, whether it be Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Tua, Justin Herbert, Matt Stafford, those kind of guys. But, like, if you're playing against Lamar or, one of these quarterbacks who could put up a ton of points,
fair enough.
I would go upside guy because Richardson could
you need it
with those guys. I wouldn't want a floor play in that case. But again, that all just depends. Like, if you just need a safe play, like if your opponent has Dak Prescott, I'd probably lean towards playing the pocket passer or the safer guy than Anthony Richardson. I do think Houston wins, though.
Out of all those guys you did name, Love would be the only guy I would start. Like, there's not many guys I personally would start over Richardson, and I don't like that. But just based off like what he could be, you have to start him. Like I get it, but Jordan Love is just like I have him right there with CJ Stroud. So I would personally start that level of talent because I know what the floor and the ceiling is. But Richardson, dude, like his floor is crazy. I know I just traded him to in Dynasty, but I got Hurts in return, who I think is going to be like MVP this year. So I'm fine with that. But like I was really hesitant to trade Richardson just based off of what he can be.
Yeah. I think this game's gonna be fun. I hope like the Colts. I hope they do what they did last year. They had an incredible pace of play. Like they were the fastest team in the league. They've like ran the most plays. I love Shane Steichen as a coach. I can't wait to see this battle between him and Houston with Stroud versus Richardson. This game could be wild. I am picking Houston though.
I'm also picking Houston. Yeah.
All right. Next up, Battle of Florida. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins are 3.5-point favorites. Excuse me. Over under is 49
points.
I think if you have Brian Thomas Jr.,
start him.
I would play him.
Start him.
Christian Kirk's banged up. Like Miami's defense not great. And if Jacksonville wants to hang, they're going to score a ton of points, which means I think they're going to try to stretch the field, which means big plays for big play Gabe or BTJ, and I think BTJ is the better player than Gabe Davis. So that's I think Brian Thomas, if you have him, I think he's a sneaky start this week.
I agree. I would also see, like, I have Christian Kirk, and I'm like, I want to say I'd start him, but like he's banged up. But I know, like PPR wise, he's a super safe play. Like if he plays and you have a full point PPR, he's really safe.
Yeah, if he plays, you got to put him out there.
Yeah, like PPR wise, he's almost a lock for like 11, 12 points. Like he's good for like 5, 6 catches, 40 to 50 yards. So like that's 10 to 11 points. I'm locking in for Kirk if he plays. But Brian Thomas, dude, like he's going to have a fine season. And I've said this, his rookie year is going to be fine. It's looking like it's going to be real fine from all reports. But hey, man, it's a rookie Jags receiver. You can't really bank on any rookie Jags receiver. But hey, man, all the reports are coming in and it's fun. I would honestly be fine starting Brian Thomas Jr. in the flex just based off what it could be and how high scoring this game's going to be. Jacksonville's getting on the field and they know they're going to have to drop 30-some points in this game. It's just going to have to happen because Miami is going to drop 30 points. That's just what they're going to do. They have a crazy fast and high-powered offense, so Jacksonville's like, fuck, what are we going to do? We can't hand it off to ETN 23 times. It's just not how it's going to work this game. But ETN's a great PPR option week 1. Brian Thomas is a good option. Christian Kirk, if suited, great option. Evan Ingram, good option. Just based off who they're playing. Like, they're playing Miami, so they're going to have to put up points. Yeah. So start your Jags.
Yep, your bigger name Jags, you're going to want to start Miami. Obviously, you're starting Tyreek Hill.
Start them all, dude. And to answer your question, I would go Mostert.
Yeah, okay. That's who I have it. I am a little worried about Jalen Waddle still. I know he's back to practice, but iffy. But you likely don't really have an option to play him. But like, hey, if you did draft Jalen Waddle and you got BTJ later, I might go BTJ. I might go with the upside guy.
See, that one's sneaky because Waddle hasn't practiced at all. He hasn't even taken like contact, but he is. I'm pretty sure yesterday he went full practice.
Yeah, he did.
So he should play, but it's still scary, dude. Like, that's the story of Jalen Waddle. Like, he doesn't miss many games, but he's constantly getting removed from games because he's hurt. And then he comes back, and then he gets removed, and he comes back, and then he gets removed, and he just doesn't come back. And you're like, what the fuck happened to Jalen Waddle? And it's only the first quarter. He's been hurt 4 times in the first quarter.
He's one of those guys like Deontay Johnson where you want to turn your notifications off. You don't want to be knowing how. But Miami, I'm interested in seeing how the running backs work out. Like Mike McDaniel, he's been saying like, hey, like, Raheem Mostert, he's the number 1 running back. He's gonna get the goal line stuff. But like, he's also talked about like working in Jaden Wright right off the bat. Like, he's not shy about being like, hey, like, why can't we have 3 running backs? I'm also interested in seeing who the third option is in this team after Waddle and Hill. Is it going to be Jonnu Smith? Is it going to be Devon Achane? Maybe he's more of a receiver this year. Is it my dude Malik Washington? Like, I'm interested in how the pecking order works out in Miami, but you're starting your big name Dolphins guys. I think Achane Mostert could have huge games both, and like both live up. Like, people are gonna be like, why do we let Mostert fall?
Mostert is going to, like, it's gonna be. I think he's gonna outscore Achane, and I don't think that's crazy to say. Like, he's coming into week 1 as the Dolphins' starting running back. Devon Achane is the backup. Mostert is the starter. What happened last year? Mostert had 18 touchdowns rushing, like 4 receiving. He had 20-some touchdowns total.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen again, but to have 14, that's definitely a really good possibility. And that's a ton of fantasy points. It's his ball.
It's Mostert's
It's his.
Game. Yep.
But Jonnu Smith, though, is a really good. They're moving him around a lot. They're like, he's sliding into motion. He's getting backfield plays. He's getting screens. He's getting a lot of forced plays, a lot of targets. Like, forced targets are what you want for a tight end. Because, like, if they're going out there making plays for Jonnu Smith, that's guaranteed catch points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jonnu, he's a guy, I think after week 1, we were like, oh, why did we not see this coming? Because, like, super athletic dude on the Dolphins.
There was a stretch of time in Atlanta last year where he was very startable. Like, you didn't want to do it, but he was a really startable tight end last year in Atlanta. And now he's going to an offense where they're moving him around a lot more. It's a lot better looking offense. Like, come on, it's Miami, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Jonnu Smith he's a really sneaky tight end start if you really need it.
Yeah. We both picking Miami?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Unsexy game. We got 3 in a row, maybe even 4 in a row that aren't great. The Carolina Panthers at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are 4.5-point favorites, over under of 42. This game's gross. I don't think they hit that.
I don't think they're gonna. It's gonna be really close, but I'm actually really excited to see how this game plays out. Just based off of, like, it has Bryce Young in it. Carolina's offense is a whole bunch of question marks. I'm really interested to see the receiver snap percentage. And then, like, New Orleans, like, Kamara's a great watch. Olave, I'm really excited to see how they use Olave.
Taysom Hill's usage.
It's gonna be crazy, dog. Speaking of that guy, sorry to quick check this. I'm about to check our waiver rosters.
You got him.
Did I get him back?
Yeah,
nice.
You got him back. Yeah, Taysom Hill, I want to see him play more than 70%. I want to see him play 70% of the stat. I don't want him to see used as a gadget dude. I want him on the field a lot, all over the place.
I think there's a legitimate chance he's the backup running back. He's the 2nd or 3 option in the passing game. And then he's also their goal line back.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's probably the backup quarterback.
Sure, yeah. If you like, there's a world where Taysom Hill comes out week 1 and has a rushing touchdown, and then some type of bullshit like passing. Like, he can have 2 touchdowns week 1, and they're garbage points. I get it, but like, Taysom Hill's really valuable just because of the offense they run, and they like Taysom Hill's gonna be like crazy this year, and it's gonna be fun to watch.
There's a world where Taysom Hill could lead the league in rushing touchdowns. And if you want to place that bet, it's 250 to 1 odds. So
run it.
Yeah, throw $5 on that and you're getting good money back if he does it.
It's crazy, but like, yeah, it's not fun, it's not sexy, but that's how Taysom Hill's always been, and it's still going to continue, if not at a higher level this year, just based off what they have option wise. But I'm really excited to see Chris Olave. From all the reports, they're running him in motion, and that's when he like hits his elite level. Like, he's that kind of talent. So I'm really excited to see that. Hopefully Derek Carr doesn't fuck it up.
Yeah, Chris Olave coming out, I compared him to Steph Diggs, like similar style players. And we should be talking about this dude like we are Garrett Wilson and Drake London, and we're not. And it's because of how he's been used in New Orleans, and New Orleans needs to go out there and just let this dude unleash on defenses because he's that good.
I agree. Would you take him over Drake London?
Yes.
I would not.
I mean,
just based off other what's around him. Yeah.
I do tell people, like, if you're ever in doubt, take the guy with the better quarterback, and I just went out and went against my advice. But
that's how our buddy Bill drafts. He bases his draft off of
quarterbacks.
Yeah, that guy's got a good quarterback throwing the ball, so he'll be all right. Okay. Hey, man, it's won him a championship.
I am intrigued with Carolina, though. I do want to see how Dave Canales comes out and runs this team. Like, I'm more excited from that aspect than to, like, actually watch the game. I want to see how Bryce Young's developed in this new system. I want to see who's getting the snap. Dude. I hope Leggett gets some playing time. I can't wait to see what Deontay and Adam Thielen, who are similar style players, how they utilize them. And I want to see how the running game works out. Like, maybe Miles Sanders does get some involvement here, but I'm also interested to see, like, if Chuba Hubbard is, like, the guy. And if he is, that's great late round value there.
For sure. I'm really excited to see Bryce Young, dude. Like, I get he looked horrendous last year, but that system was trash, dude. Like, they had him surrounded by nothing. The system was dog shit.
Trevor Lawrence looked bad his rookie year.
He looked horrendous, dude. Like, but I really think Bryce Young has a chance to, like, he's not going to come out and be CJ Stroud. Like, look, we get that. It would have happened. But he has a chance to, like, really bounce back. And I really hope he does. He's in a good system. I liked him in college. He was fine at Bama. I really hope he comes out. He has good weapons. Ball out, kid. Come on.
If he puts up a year similar to what Geno Smith did in Seattle,
I'd fine with
2 years ago. That's huge great. Upgrade. That's a good season. Seattle made the playoffs. I'm not saying Carolina makes the playoffs.
No.
I am picking the Panthers to win this game, though.
Me too.
Dennis Allen gets fired week 1. Get him the fuck out of here.
Oh, mid-game. Doesn't even come back out at halftime. New coach comes out. They're like, Dennis Allen, how do we give that guy the job?
He quit.
What the hell? He quit. I could see that. Scumbag shit.
Yeah. All right, Minnesota Vikings. My Minnesota Vikings at your New York Giants. An over-under of 41. The Vikings are 1.5 point favorites. You brought up DeAndre Swift earlier with Chicago, how you're iffy on starting him. Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Who would you start, Jones or Swift?
Jones,
I agree. Less of a crowded backfield, less of a situation of, like, who's on the field too. Like,
there's also
a lot of mouths feeds in Chicago.
I agree. There's more of receiving options to go around in Chicago, where you guys have Jetta, who's going to get Jetta, and then Addison, who has his ankle issue. He's looking like he's going to play, but he's still it's a little shoddy. Them. It's just them, yeah. And there's no really question marks around what your slot's going to do. Like, where they have Rome. They also have a really good tight end. They have to kind of get into the mix here and there, where you guys, Hawkinson's
Johnny Munn.
Yeah. So Aaron Jones, I'd be fine playing him. Like, with Sam Darnold out there, I think you guys kind of have to rely a little bit on Aaron Jones. And you guys only have 2 running backs. It's him and Ty Chandler, and one of them's one of them's a kick returner.
And Aaron Jones can't stay healthy, though. He's come out. True. He hit everyone with the classic training camp quote the other day that about the training staff here in Minnesota. That he's just like, I feel great. This is the best I've ever felt in my life. And I'm just like,
hell yeah,
there it is. After training camp, this dude's saying that. Maybe we were underrating Aaron Jones. I don't think so. I do think they're going to try to utilize him. I also think Ty Chandler's going to have a ton of involvement. Obviously, you're going to start Justin Jefferson. Giants corners, not a strong crew. He's going to get a ton of targets.
Yeah, we're going to have, I would assume, Deontay Banks on him.
That guy's a dog, though.
He's a dog, for sure. But he's in for a long 4 quarters covering Justin Jefferson, brother.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long day. Week 1, you better be ready. Like, there's no real better training than getting thrown to Justin Jefferson. Like, who do you got to cover week 1? Oh, the best receiver in football. Week 1. Oh, okay, have fun.
Would be a huge proving game for him, though, if he comes out, even locks Jefferson down for a little bit, and that's a huge big. I love Deontay Banks coming out. I hope he doesn't.
The game's really full of, like, we have a whole new offense not built around Barkley for the first time in Danny Jones's career. We have Malik Neighbors, who I am, oh, baby, let's get it, baby. Malik, week 1.
Start Malik Neighbors.
Dog.
The Vikings corners aren't good. You drafted him in the 4th or 5th round. You drafted him to start him.
Start him.
That's 100%. It, though. I'm only starting Malik Neighbors from the Giants. I'm probably not throwing Singletary in. I'm not throwing Danny Jones in.
I'd be fine starting Singletary in the flex. I Singletary's going to be the workhorse back. I don't think there's anyone really getting other carries besides him. But it's not going to be like a shootout. Like, it's going to be a real grind and pound game from both offenses. We're not really that kind of off, like, either of us. Like, you have Jefferson, we have Malik, but we have dog shit quarterbacks. So I'm cool starting both running backs and both number ones, and that's about it.
Yeah, you probably start Jordan Addison, maybe just because of where you draft him.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't throw him out there, but
he's got a whole ankle thing. He's already questionable. Yeah. I would not start Jordan Addison.
Yeah, I wouldn't, but there's a chance like you drafted him to start him. But like if you are starting him in the flex, look at for a guy like Tyjae Spears or Chase Brown or
there's got to be
Dobbins
other people
or Gus Edwards, one of those guys who kind of just like sneak their way into points. I am interested to see how the Giants receiving crew sans Malik Neighbors plays out. Yep. I'm in on Jalen Hyatt this year. I think he could be sneaky good. I do want to see how Wandale's involved. I think those two with Neighbors are going to be the three guys. I know you still think it's Darius Slayton's show, but
unfortunately, it's not willingly. It's not. I think Wandale's going to be a reasonable PPR option this year. I think this is the year that he's actually fine. Hopefully, he stays healthy. That is, and then I think Wandale and Slayton kind of just are the big play, deep down, stretch the field kind of plays. I'm really excited to see how just those three guys interact, and even our two tight ends. I want to know who gets the snap count out of Bellinger and Theo Johnson. It's going to be Bellinger, but I want to see what the percentages are, and I want to see how our new offensive line holds up. We put a lot of money and work into the offensive line this offseason, and then we also got Brian Burns. So I'm really excited for our defensive line of Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and Sexy Dexty.
Yeah.
We have a really good defensive line, dude.
So the Vikings have elite tackles. Christian Darrisaw, Brian O'Neill.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that
interior.
battle.
Dexter Lawrence could probably just destroy Ed Ingram, Garrett Bradbury, and whoever the other guard is in Minnesota. I'm picking the Vikings, so I'm a homer. I'm
picking the Giants. I'm a homer. Yeah. So we'll move on.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh, my God. His mic just took a shit. Mid-podcast, fixing his mic.
My mic came unplugged.
Good God.
All right. The podcast didn't want me to talk about this game. The Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers are a 3.5 point favorite. Over under of 40.5.
Under.
No, thank you. You're starting Devontae Adams, even though I was out on him. You drafted him. He's starting. You're starting Gus Edwards, and maybe that's it. Maybe Ladd McConkey or Josh Palmer if you really want to call your shot. I'd rather wait and see with those guys.
I would wait. There's going to be guys that are going to be better week one target wise.
Zamir White too, I guess you're starting.
Oh, I didn't even get the Oakland yet. But your Chargers, though, I would be fine starting.
Gus Bus.
Yeah. If you have to start Gus, start
Vegas
Gus.
has a really good defense. I think this game's going to be disgusting.
This game's going to be bad, dude. Like, this game won't surprise me if it's like 7-3.
Yeah. I think the Chargers win. They're my pick. I don't even want I don't think you're really, unless you're backed into a corner starting guy. Like Devontae Adams is the only must start dude in this game because he's the alpha there. He's the target. I wouldn't start Jacoby Myers.
No.
I wouldn't start Zamir White. I'm interested to see how they use Zamir White, but if I have him, I'm trying to find a way out of starting him.
Yeah. If you have to start White, I would rather start him over Gus. I think it's a real toss up in the flex spot. But Adams is the only guy in this game I'm not starting that's not in the flex spot. Like Adams, I'd be fine starting in my receiver spot. Brock Bowers was officially ruled in, so he's good to go week one. He's a little banged up, but he's good to go.
Chances are you probably have to start him.
You kind of have to, most likely, unless you were smart enough to draft a tight end and then you took him as a later round because he fell in a home week because people don't know who Brock Bowers is yet.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have to start Brock Bowers, week one might be a little bit bumpy. Don't worry. Don't panic. He's a tight end. He should be fine. But Michael Mayer's there, so he doesn't have to be forced into week one because they already spent a second round pick on Mayer last year,
2 years ago. Yep.
So they don't have to and they already have Jacoby Myers, so they have guys that can fill into this Brock Bowers role. Mm-hmm. So week one might be a little rough for Bowers.
Yeah, I would start Gus over Zamir White. I think there's more touchdown upside for Gus Edwards than Zamir in this game.
True.
That's right. I think Gus Edwards could have 2 touchdowns. It could be a 40-yard game and 2 touchdowns.
I'm more worried. I'm more worried about the snap percentages of Gus and JK. That's more so Zamir's not gonna Alexander Matterson. I like, but he's not gonna be taking targets where it apparently J.K. Dobbins is taking carries. I don't know why.
They're listed as 1A, 1B on this depth chart. Dobbins,
Exactly.
I mean, Gus has never been a catch guy, but it's going to be Gus's game when it comes
In
to the red zone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm more interested just kind of watching the Chargers. I don't really want to start any of them. I want to see how this offense works because like it's been a big question mark. I want to see
it's question mark.
Who Herbert's favoring, whether it be Josh Palmer or Ladd McConkey, or even if it could maybe it's Quinn Johnston or DJ Shark.
It could be DJ Shark, exactly. Yeah.
But I do think the Chargers win in an ugly game.
Yeah, I also picked the Chargers, but like I said, it could be 7-3. Like both these teams have okay defenses. Vegas has a really good defense, and then Harbaugh is going to grind and pound this ball. Like it's going to be a boring fucking game.
Yeah.
But hey, man, if you really like defensive games and like run-based offenses, buckle in. It's going to be a show. It's a show for you.
Game. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Denver Broncos at the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks are 5.5-point favorites. Over under 42. I've talked to death about how I can't wait to see what the Seahawks offense looks like week 1. I'm excited for it. Denver just hooked up Pat Surtain, highest paid corner in NFL history. Bo Nix, your dude, starting. He got the captaincy. I can't wait to see what Bo does. Like, I'm interested to see how this offense works in Denver as well. Whether, like, what the running back involvement's going to be. Is it going to be like a 4-way split with Watson, Estime getting involved with Javonte and McLaughlin? Or if it's just going to be McLaughlin and Javonte? Who's going to be the favorite target outside Courtland Sutton? Greg Dulcich, Josh Reynolds, Marvin Mims. A lot of questions in Denver. I'm interested to see. I do think Seattle wins. Start DK. Start JSN, start Tyler Lockett. I would start any of them if you got them. Ken Walker, put him in.
I'm a little more hesitant on Lockett and JSN. If you can find a way out of starting them, I think I would. Denver has a really good... They can lock both those guys down pretty easily.
I think they're good flex plays in a 12-team league.
They can be. They for sure can be. But like if I had a guy like Gus Edwards, per se, like on my bench, I think I would rather start him than one of them. I don't know which one because I'm so close on JSN and Lockett. Like that's why I'm not starting them. Like I don't know how this. Like I just don't trust who's going to get the ball. I don't.
You want to see the pecking order before committing.
Yeah, to where if I have like Najee on my bench, I know Najee and Jalen Warren are going to split, but I know what Najee's going to get, so like it's still there. But DK, I'm starting for sure. He's a great red zone threat. We've talked about Noah Fant. Him and Greg Dulcich.
Revenge game.
That is true. That is true. I didn't realize that. Him and Greg Dulcich are going to be... I'm interested in both of them to see what their snap percentages are. Because like we said, Denver's all question marks. Like, it could be Greg Dulcich. Like,
super athletic guy.
No one knows how Bo Nix is going to, like... who's he going to prefer? He doesn't have really... developed... What am I looking for here?
Rapport with any of those guys.
Developed rapport with any of these guys. So... it's all question marks, but I'm really excited to see Denver's offense, dude. I'm really in on Bo. I think he's gonna go in. He's gonna go into Seattle, which is still one of the toughest places to play for a rookie. It's week 1. I'm starting Seattle's defense. I'll give you that as a little inside, but I think Bo Nix is gonna have a really, really good NFL game. Like I don't think he's gonna make many mistakes week 1.
Yeah, I'm interested. Like Bo Nix could, kind of this short game his way into this being competitive. Like you work the clock.
Exactly.
Like really take time off the drive.
The game. Yeah.
Yep. I do think Seattle wins though. I think they're a little more high powered than that. But I do think Bo Nix is going to play well. But I am interested in seeing the pecking order there with like the receiving crew who Bo favors, or is it just going to be the running backs? Are they going to be just dump offs to Javonte and Jaleel, and then you got 2 PPR studs?
I think Courtland Sutton could be fine. I think I think if any receiver is going to really come out of this, it's going to be Courtland Sutton. He was a really good touchdown option last year in Denver. It could very easily continue.
Yeah. All right. We're both going Seattle there. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys at the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are 2.5-point favorites, and over under a 41.5. This is going to be a good defensive game. Both teams, great defenses. Deshaun Watson, not so great. So we'll see how the Cleveland offense does. I am really interested in seeing how Cleveland works this without Nick Chubb. Like, how much is Jerome Ford involved, or how much is it a committee, or is it going to be opening up the playbook for Deshaun Watson and really getting Amari Cooper and David Njoku and Jerry Jeudy involved?
That would be really nice, dude. They also have Cedric Tillman. I would love for the Browns to really go in there and just open up the field for Deshaun Watson. Like he did it in Houston. He was fine. Yeah, they were always playing from behind. That doesn't happen much right now with this defense in Cleveland. Like, they're that good. They're always close, so Watson doesn't have to go out there and sling the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a game manager, and that's not really what he is. He kind of is struggling with it. Cleveland is favored in this game at home, but I'm going to pull Dallas on this one. I think
Dallas as well.
I'm going Dallas. I really trust Dak. CD doesn't really need to practice too much. Him and Chase are both elite athletes where they can just step on the field and have an amazing game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Jake Ferguson's also a really good option. I trust Dallas's options way more than I trust Cleveland's.
I agree.
But both these teams have really good defenses, like you said. But I am starting Cooper. I'd be fine with that for Cleveland. Njoku scares the hell out of me week 1 versus Dallas, but you have to start him.
Chances are you got to start.
You start him. Yeah.
And I love Jake Ferguson this week and CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. I can't wait to see how Dallas's backfield plays out, though. Is it going to be Rico? Is it going to be Zeke? True. Or are we just milking it for Dalvin Cook to eventually take over? I hope it's Rico. Go with the young, explosive dude instead of Grandpa Zeke. That's what I want to see, but we'll see what Mike McCarthy does.
Week 1 is going to be Zeke getting the carries for sure, but I think Rico has a chance to step in there and get the PPR options. But I mean, like, we can't forget, like, Zeke was a fine catch option in New England last year. Like, he caught a lot of balls. That's really what he got his fantasy value out of, was his PPR option. Like, he ran like hell. Like, he didn't run good last year. So if Dallas really plans on relying on him as a back, it's a lot of question marks for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, we're both going Dallas here, though. I think better offense.
That game is a question mark. Like I've only have a few of these games locked right now. So this game could very easily show us. Like, Cleveland's defense could just get him this game, like, for sure.
Yeah,
it's at home.
Cleveland's defense is that good where, like, I could lean them, but I'm going to go with the team with a better quarterback, though. I trust Dak winning a game more than I do Deshaun Watson.
100%. Right now, I'm going Dallas right now, for sure.
Washington Commanders at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks are 3.5-point favorites, over under 43.5. This is my upset pick of the week. I am taking
we both have
the Washington Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels is going to put on a show.
Yep.
I don't like Austin Eckler, but if you want a nice little bet, his over-under on receptions is 2.5, which is a cakewalk. This dude averages like 5 catches a game.
Crazy.
Take that bet. Put it on a parlay with that anytime Anthony Richardson and Hunter Henry touchdown.
Eckler's running out of, like, slot packages. Like, he's going to be worked in receiver role.
He's the second best pass catcher on this team behind Terry McLaurin.
100%. I seen Luke McCaffrey got the starting job from what I hear.
Hey, well,
I heard he's listed as the depth chart as the 2, which makes sense. Like, they drafted him in the third. Like, he has the draft capital. Like, go out there and use him.
Mm-hmm.
So as of right now, I hear he's listed as the 2 behind McLaurin. So I'm really interested to see under McLaurin who is getting used in this offense. Like, out of anybody, even the 2 tight ends are going to be very interesting. Like Zach Ertz, Ben Sinnott. They have 5 receivers that can compete for the number 2 spot.
Kingsbury's not using Ben Sinnott. Come on.
Well, I know this. I personally think Zach Ertz is going to have a crazy PPR season just based off Kiff Clink. I cannot say that guy's fucking name, dude. Jesus Christ. How does this continue?
King's Cliffberry over here.
Good God. But I think you brought up Jaden Daniels. He's been a guy that we have both talked phenomenally high on this podcast. We both loved him in college. Mm-hmm. He was my QB2 and it wasn't even close. I think he's going to come into Tampa and take the NFL by storm, dude. And the fantasy world. Like, he's a rushing quarterback.
He breaks fantasy.
He has an elite passing arm too. Like, he can throw a ball better than Anthony Richardson, and people aren't talking about that. Like, his arm is really good.
He can throw a ball more accurately deep.
Yes.
Anthony Richardson can throw a ball further. It's just 50 yards the wrong way.
Yeah, exactly. It's Joe Milton, and it's not useful. Jaden Daniels. Yes, I was going to say Jahan Dotson. Jaden Daniels he's like a really good quarterback without the rushing stuff, and you add that in there, it's all bonuses, dude. But let's not sleep on Tampa, dude. Like, Tampa took the South last year. They brought back literally every piece that they have. I'm starting all of them, even Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin's a really good PPR option.
He's playing out of the slot again, and that's where Godwin
that's where he's elite. Yeah, they're gonna move him around. He's gonna be running slot routes. It's Evan and McMillan on the outsides.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fun to watch. They're both elite ball chasers. They're really good deep options. And come on, like Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer out here. And then like Baker's slept on every year, dude. Like Baker's a really good NFL quarterback, and he's a dog, dude. The guys thrive around Baker. So like Tampa's still going to be really decent this year. But I've been on the podcast saying I think Washington can make the playoffs. They brought in elite coaches. They brought in elite players. They have a really good roster around a rookie quarterback.
Yeah,
I'm picking Washington.
I agree. I can't wait to see. Like I love Brian Robinson. I think he's a great play this week. Tampa, not great against the run. I think Eckler's a good PPR option because, you know, again, second best patch catcher on this team behind Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin also, you're going to start him. You're going to start your Bucks too. Rashad White, he's going to be money this week, especially if this game is, you know, scoring. Like if Washington's putting up points, if Washington's putting up points, Tampa's going to have to counter, and you're going to see a lot of dump off to Rashad White's deep shots to Mike Evans. I do like Godwin too. I do like Godwin. I want to see him.
I really like Godwin this week.
I hope the reports of him playing out of the slot like predominantly are true, because like the last time he played like 70% of the snaps out of the slot, he was like wide receiver 5 in PPR.
I agree. Like him running the slot, that's all I needed to hear. Like I got so in on Godwin once he's like, oh, they're just running them out of the slot with McMillan and Mike Evans. I'm like, oh, okay. That makes so much sense. He doesn't have to play the outside. They can shift him around. He's a really good slot receiver. So PPR option, lock Chris Godwin in, dude. Like lock him in.
Sunday Night Football. The Los Angeles Rams at the Detroit Lions revenge game, playoff rematch. The Lions are 3.5-point favorites, and over under of 51 points. Vegas says we're going to have a slugfest, and I agree. This game's going to be. The Rams, I can't wait to see how the snaps work out with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. Like, is Cooper Kupp back to being himself, Triple Crown winner? Or is Puka the next Cooper Kupp? We'll see. Kyren, Blake Corum, I want to see how that works out. Detroit, after Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra, who's next up? Is it Javid Best? Oh my goodness.
Javid Best. I don't think it's gonna be that guy.
Is it Jahmyr Gibbs? Is it Jameson Williams?
It might be Gibbs. He's got a better chance than Javid Best, who hasn't played football since probably 2008. It's gonna be Gibbs, and Montgomery's gonna be very valuable. The Rams are my upset pick of the week. I'm picking the Rams in this game.
Okay.
I really trust McVay. I think Stafford's one of the best quarterbacks in football. Cooper Kupp's healthy. Puka Nacua, I can't say that guy's name either. He had a little bit of injury scare, but he seems back at practice now. And Kyren Williams is going to be with a dog, dude. Like, I have to back him. I have him in our home week. So I'm all in on Kyren too. It's also reported that Blake Corum is punt returning or kick returning. He's doing one of them.
Kyren punt returning.
So then Blake Corum's doing kick returns. So they swapped. Yeah.
Wild. Sean McVay is just a wild man. I love it.
Yeah. So they have both their running backs out there on special teams. I would personally rather him switched. I would rather Kyren out there taking kick returns as a Kyren owner. The punt returns are really scary, dude. Like you could get really hurt on punt returns.
You get rocked on punt return.
You could get rocked. Like if you're not really focused and you just miss one block, that dude's getting body bagged, and that really scares me for an undersized running back. Like I'm really confident on Kyren as long as he's healthy. And yeah, I can't bank on injury. I can't predict it. But Blake Corum seems to be really viable. Like it kind of looks like they're running some type of committee here, and that scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, if Blake Corum's on your market, pick him up just on the chance that Kyren can get hurt, and then you have the Rams RB1. I'm picking Detroit, though. I know you said you're going with the Rams. I think the Lions win this game. Jared Goff, there's another one. He's like the 5th highest bet. Like his betting odds is like 5th in the league to lead the league in passing, and he was 2nd last year.
Yeah.
There's another good bet for you. Bet Jared Goff to lead the league in passing yards. I think I wouldn't be surprised if this game hits the over 51.
I agree that each team could have 30 points, and that's 60 points right there. I would be fine starting both quarterbacks. I think they're both going to have like a lot of touchdowns. Both running backs for Detroit. I'm cool starting Kyren. I'm cool starting both receivers from LA, being Puka and Cooper, and then Amon-Ra obviously start him.
Sam Laporta,
lock him in. you're starting guys you have in this. Like everyone you have that's not like Jameson Williams, lock them in.
There are big name fantasy players in this game. It's going to be
this
a good
game's
one.
going to be great. NFL really did the primetime games wonderfully week 1.
Yep. And then Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers.
Whoop, whoop. I
The
can't
New
wait
York
for this game
Jets at the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners, 3.5-point favorites, over under a 44. I'm taking the Niners to win. Vibes are starting to go good now for San Francisco after a terrible offseason. Brandon Ayuk even came out and was just like, yeah, I probably dragged this on a little bit longer than I should have. No shit, dude. Like,
He also came out, he's like, I don't really talk too much, but I was being told that I had to. Like, his agent was telling him that, like, this is the time you have to speak up and really cause a disturbance so you get paid. This isn't what Brandon Ayuk does.
He really went overboard with it, though.
Yeah, and you could tell he really wasn't comfortable with it, though. Like, he came out, he's like, I didn't, like, this wasn't me. He's going to go back to being quiet. He got his money. I'm glad he got paid.
Yeah. He wanted to be in
up
San Francisco.
Exactly, and it showed. Like, all these other deals are on the table. He goes, no, I don't want to go to Pittsburgh. They're going to give you 30. No, I don't want to go to Pitt. I don't want to go to New England. I don't want to go to Cleveland.
The
I want
Cleveland
to be
offer
here.
was insane. It was a 2 and a 3 and Amari
and
Cooper.
Yeah, that deal's crazy. Like, San Fran, I get it. Like, but Brandon Ayuk's like, I want to be here. Just please pay me. And they did, and I'm glad it worked out. Now go out there and prove that you can be a number 1 like fantasy receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was 14 last year. He was 15 the year before that. Take the boost up, and San Fran needs to buy into that too. Like, you just paid this dude, and there's a chance Debo's not there next year. This might be it for Debo, and Brandon Ayuk might be the guy, so they might have to start forcing the offense around him this year. So there's a really good path where Brandon Ayuk is the dude, and I would love to see that.
I am worried about him week 1 here, just not practicing. He's probably getting lined up with Sauce Gardner, so tough matchup there. Debo moves around a bit, and he's going up against whoever's lining up, whether it be the nickel or the outside guy that's not Sauce. And Kittle's a good play, works the middle of the field there. Christian McCaffrey. You're obviously going to start Brandon Ayuk, though. I would be prepared for him to be under projected. I'm not starting Brock Purdy. Jets-wise, you're obviously starting Garrett Wilson. Tyler Conklin's a good dart throw at tight end if you got a guy if you had Brock Bowers and you're not comfortable starting him. Tyler Conklin, watch your waiver wire, see if he's out there, pick him up.
Yeah, if Kyle Pitts ends up being ruled out, like if Kyle Pitts gets ruled out because of this hammy, Tyler Conklin's probably on your free agent market. Go pick him up.
You're obviously starting Breece Hall too. I'm not starting Rodgers.
No, I didn't draft him to start.
Yeah,
you shouldn't have.
Yeah, I don't want either quarterback in this game.
Yeah, no, I'm not really comfortable starting Brock Purdy versus the Jets. The Jets have a crazy defense.
Two great defenses here.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good defensive match, but I'm really excited for both offensive too. Like, Garrett Wilson's amazing to watch. Breece Hall is amazing to watch. How's Rodgers going to do back from the injury? I hope he runs out with that dumbass flag again. Like, what? It's Monday night. Here we go again, baby boy. Hopefully that Achilles holds up.
Deja vu. Here's the fun thing. I worked when Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles, and I work again on Monday. I was supposed to have off, and here I am. I'm working, so backflash. Here we go.
The flag's going to be too heavy.
I hate Aaron Rodgers. I don't like him. He's a weird dude, but I hope he's healthy. I hope he plays because the Jets have a lot of guys who are a lot of fun. Like, I want to see Garrett Wilson with a legitimate quarterback.
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing this guy just get hyper targeted by toddlers. Like, he has like preschool quarterbacks out here throwing him the ball, and he's still producing. Like, it's better for the NFL if Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are just decent this year. I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be fine. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers stays healthy.
Yeah,
but yeah, you said,
I'm going San Fran though in this game.
I had the Jets for a little bit. It would be fun. I think if Rodgers would come in, beat San Fran week 1, it's a really good story. But all the tides are swift. They're switching. Yeah, the tides are really shifting for San Fran the last like 3-4 days with Trent Williams signing, bringing back Brandon Ayuk. McCaffrey's now back healthy. So I'm not going to San Fran. It'd be crazy not to pick them. It's not a give me, but it's on paper. The Niners should take this one. It's at home. So
there we go. Division 1. Week 1 in the books.
Division 1.
We wrapped them up there. Before we head out, Super Bowl predictions. You said Phillies, Kansas City? Is that what you're still going?
Yeah, but switch it up. Philly wins.
Philly wins. All right. Green Bay, Cincinnati. The Bengals finally do it. Joe Burrow, blonde Joe Burrow, Slim Burrow, and the Bengals win the Super Bowl. What a better way for Jamar Chase to be like, hey, we won the Super Bowl. Pay me.
Yeah, get that money, young buck.
Yep.
Green Bay, though, man, you would hate that.
I like Jordan Love.
Man, we both had a division rival going to the Super Bowl. How about that? You had Green Bay, I had Philly. So
wasn't picking them to win though. I'll take the Bengals.
I'm so in on Jalen Hurts this year, fantasy wise. I'm like forced to take Philly and everything. Like I'm a residential Eagles fan at this point in just fantasy season. So hey man, like, go Birds.
Eagles have a bad year. You're doomed in fantasy.
I'm royally fucked. But hey man, what a better way to go back to hating Philly if they really fuck me over on fantasy this year. Oh, you think we're gonna be good? No. And then Hurts is garbage. Smith is garbage. Barkley gets hurt. AJ Brown somehow is a letdown because Hurts is garbage. And I'm just like, every team I have is dog shit.
I hope not. The Eagles have, like, I hate Philadelphia, but they got players that you want to want, like AJ Brown, superstar, Devonta Smith, budding superstar, Jalen Hurts, a really good fantasy guy. I know he gets some slack on, he's not an elite quarterback. He's a franchise guy. He's a franchise guy. My problem with Philadelphia is Nick Sirianni. That dude's a clown.
I'm no Eagles fan, but I would honest to God square up in defense for Jalen Hurts. Like, the bad mouth for Jalen Hurts is dog. Like, don't bring that shit around me. Like, Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback.
Your boy Dan Orlovsky doesn't think so.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Fucking Jalen Hurts is gonna come out here in this new fucking Kellen Moore offense and fucking rock the NFL, baby. 15 rushing touchdowns, 4,000 passing yards, MVP, Jalen Hurts.
He's your MVP?
Super Bowl. Hell, he has to be.
Okay.
I have him in Jordan almost every league.
Jordan Love's my MVP.
Yeah, good pick. That would really pay off for K-Dog, getting him hella late in our home league. But yeah, I'm really in on the Eagles, so they're pretty much my fantasy MVPs. Yeah. And I think Jalen Hurts is going to win real MVP in the Super Bowl as well. So,
all right, locked it in. Episode done. We'll be back Tuesday, a little shorter one. We'll kind of quick recap games, anything important that happened, and give you some waiver wire watches, stuff like that. And then we'll talk about the Thursday game on Tuesday. And then Thursday, we'll do this again. We'll run through our predictions, stuff like that. Guys, thank you as always for listening to the Drafted Up Podcast. You can find us over on Twitter at draftedup_pod, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We're there. Search Drafted Up Podcast. Like, rate, subscribe, review, all that good stuff. Word of mouth. Tell everybody. Do a good deed. Put it in fortune cookies. Sneak it into fortune cookies so people get in their Chinese food and there's listen to the Drafted Up Podcast.
Don't do that. Don't touch someone's fortune cookies. That's out of pocket. You're opening fortune cookies and then resealing them.
Make fortune cookies and just leave them at the Chinese restaurant.
Now that we can do. Yeah.
All right, guys. Okay. Thank you as always. Adios.
Bye.
It did it again. It confettied.
Did it?
Yes.
Oh, I missed it. What the fuck? Right at the end?
I don't even think I got it on the recording.
Oh, that's funny.
We're still recording, apparently. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God. End the podcast.